Good evening, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. I have started recording the session. Okay, so it is 6 o'clock. I'm going to start. And please ensure that everyone and there's no problem with connectivity. Also, your camera off as can impact the live session for others that don't have a good signal. Okay, so to ensure we have a good session, please mute yourselves and turn your cameras off. Then at the end, I will allow you to have a Q&A. It's going to be a very short session. Sorry we couldn't have our session last night, but today we will cover it. Okay, so before I start on Unit 6, let me share my screen. I am going to, okay, I'm just going to take you through ICANN. I see most of you have done your formative assessment 1. However, I'm still getting a lot of questions about where to find the formative assessments and where to find the textbook specifically. Okay, so let's start with the textbook. Okay, so if you go under course material, this is on the main page of ICANN under logistics and transportation management. If we go down on the main page, we click on course material. Okay, and it brings you to another section. You then going to click on the heading that says Logistics and Transportation Management Textbook. Okay, it's going to take you to another link. Remember, the textbook is online. All right, it is online. Okay, then just accept the T's and C's for the online textbook. And then it will load. Okay, the table of contents, you click on the heading and it's going to take you to the relevant section. Today we are talking about reverse logistics. Okay, so everything that's on here, I've made a slide and we will then discuss it. I've summarized this chapter from this textbook specifically for you. Okay, so that is the textbook. Now, to find the formative assessment 2, because you should have done number 1. Formative assessment 1 was found here under assignment number 1. Assignment number 2 is where you can obviously find your formative assessment 2. You will then click on this heading where it says quiz formative assessment 2. All right, and then you will commence. And you will have 4 attempts. Okay, you need to get at least 50% to pass. So use your 4 attempts. All right. And obviously your highest grade will be taken from those 4 attempts. So I hope that has helped you guys with anything there. Any questions on the ICANN? You guys can ask a question for 2 secs. Okay, everyone happy with ICANN? Do we have a question? Tonke? Okay, maybe. Okay. Well, let's commence with with Unit 6. Okay. Where is it here? Yeah. Unit 6. Okay. The textbook is obviously very detailed. So the slides that I go over now, it's just focusing on the main sections that I feel that need to be discussed. Okay, otherwise you do need to go and read through the units on that textbook that I just showed you online to make sure you don't miss anything. And obviously for your formative and summative assessments, you will use your online textbook to help you answer those questions. Okay, so let's start. Reverse logistics. Okay, so reverse logistics. What is the outcome of this chapter? So we want to understand what reverse logistics is. Okay, the role of reverse distribution. Discuss the impact of return of unsold goods. Differentiate between different types of returns and exchanges in logistics. Discuss the impact of product recalls and identify the main components of waste management. Okay, so what is reverse logistics? Okay. In this unit, we will examine the nature of reverse logistics. Okay, we will determine its role in the logistics management as a whole and identify the different types of exchanges and returns. Okay, so when we talk about reverse logistics, we actually are referring to goods that have been returned, product recalls. Okay, products that have expired or end of the product life cycle. Okay, so when we talk about logistics, we first talk about us as the company and the logistic management team developing the product, getting it packaged and sending it off to the retailer so the end consumer can purchase it. Okay, that is logistics. Now, what is reverse logistics? It's the opposite. Instead of us as the company and the logistics team getting the product over to the customer, it's now the customer returning it back to us as the company. Okay, it is reverse. There is no simpler way to actually put it. Okay, so you, for example, are the consumer. You've purchased a pair of Yeezy Tackies, and you open the box and you see the Yeezy Tacky has a massive hole in the sole at the bottom of the shoe. Okay, so what do? You then take it back to the shop with the slip and you return it. Okay, why? Because the product you purchased was damaged. So you are going to take it back to the shop, and the retailer is going to then send it back to the manufacturer. All right. Then we're going to talk about what actually happens to that returned good when it comes back to the company. What are we going to do with that damaged product? Okay, so let's look here. What is reverse logistics? Okay, refers to the backward or reverse flow of goods. Okay, like I just said. Okay, it deals with managing the recovery of products, okay, or the materials that are no longer required by consumers. Okay, perhaps the products at the end of the product life cycle, nobody wants to purchase an iPhone 2 anymore because we're on the iPhone 15. So we have to either dispose of the product, or if we can, reuse the parts of those products. So we do not make a loss with our materials for the company. So here as a logistics manager, you want to ensure that you are able to reuse products that have been damaged, or fix the products that have been damaged, or recycle the products that have been returned, or reuse the materials for other products in the company that you are developing. Okay, so when we think about reverse logistics, it encompasses the repair, remanufacturing, recycling, reuse, or disposal of products or materials that have been collected or returned from customers. Okay. So not only is you as a logistics manager are going to be concerned about getting the product out, you're also going to be concerned with what happens to the products when they are returned back to the company and why they are being returned back. Okay. So there are a number of activities associated with logistics. Okay. We've already discussed it in the previous chapters, how we have to think about materials, packaging, cost, and time. Okay, ensuring that we also get the product out to the consumers at a cost-effective price. Okay, so that is the same as reverse logistics. We want to ensure that we can save the company instead of making a loss on the returned products, because when you have returned products, essentially you have to give back the customer their money if it is a returned or damaged goods. So you will make a loss. So how can we as a logistics team actually save the materials or remanufacture or fix the items that have been returned? Okay, so there's obviously a process involved with reverse logistics. Okay, collection, all right, inspection, sorting, disassembly, and disposal. All right, so when we look at this process of reverse logistics, it is the consumer will start off by sending it back to the retailer, okay, and the company will then be collecting it to inspect, sort out, disassemble, and dispose. Okay, so let's talk about these steps in the reverse logistics process. Okay, so collection. All right, this is obviously when the product is returned to the company. Okay, the company collects the damaged or end of product life cycle item, and it is then taken to the company for sorting. Okay, so when we get to the sorting section and inspection of our returned products, we need to decide, is this a damaged product that's being returned? Does it fall under the category of end of product life cycle? Can it be remanufactured or fixed? We need to sort and inspect the products to see what we need to do for this section. Okay, is it a product recall? Okay, all right, so we need to categorize the products based on how we are going to go about recovering the product or its materials itself. Okay, the next step would be disassembly. Okay, if the product cannot be repackaged and resold, okay, can we then reuse the material that makes up the product? Okay, can we reuse the material in developing other products, or can we reuse the material and melt it down and add it? For example, in technology specifically, we can break down phones, we can reuse the parts. Okay, so can we disassemble and reuse the materials? Then that way the company does not suffer a major loss financially. Okay, and at the end of the reverse logistics process, it will be disposal. Okay, here, if there is no way of recycling, no way of reusing, we will then have to dispose. Okay, so can we reuse it or recycle it? If it is a glass product, perhaps we can recycle, or plastic, recycle. Okay. Okay, so why is it important to understand reverse logistics and its role in the company? Because at the end of the day, it's going to impact the firm's financials, okay, revenue and profits. So it's got economic importance. Okay, we need to try and recover and save costs with goods returned. Okay, it has a strategic importance for the company. Okay, as it ensures and illustrates the company's commitment to ensuring that there is organization and the company is aware of reusing, recycling, and trying to be environmentally friendly if the item is returned and the materials do need to be disposed of. So that is why it is important, like we said in the previous units, when you are developing products, the logistics team needs to try and source products that are economically and environmentally friendly. So when we get to a reverse logistics situation with the returned goods, we can then ensure that we can actually reuse or recycle, okay, the products. Okay, at the end of the day, giving the company a better image. All right, and then obviously it's important for the customer. Customers will stay loyal to companies that offer excellent service. Okay, if you're going to offer an excellent service in returning goods, you are not going to lose your customers. Okay, that is important. Okay. So what are the benefits of reverse logistics? Okay, again, economical and environmental benefits. All right. We want to ensure that the company can reuse and recycle the products and save money where we can. All right. As well as the environmental benefits. We want to show our customers that we take our operation seriously. We have the environment in consideration, and we take our customers' returned experience of the products seriously. Okay, and by doing that, it might even increase your customer base if you have a good return policy. Okay. Okay, so what influences reverse logistics? These include the increased importance that has been attached to environmental impact, waste management and disposal. Okay, like we said in the process earlier, the last step in the process is disposal. So we need to ensure that we have a good waste management system in place on how the company goes about disposing the materials and the products. Okay, is our waste of the product going to impact the environment negatively or positively? Can we recycle it? Important. All right. Okay, so obviously reverse logistics starts off by the items being returned from the consumer. Now, this can be done via the seller, via the other outlets, okay? You can resell to secondary markets, donate to charity, or recycle, okay? So when you get items returned, maybe they have there was an overproduction of tackies, okay, and now they've come to the end of their product life cycle, so no one has purchased them in the last year, so they've just been sitting. Okay, we have to then dispose of those items. Now these are the different ways we can get rid of the items: by donating it to charity. We can recycle the items to contribute to other product developments. We can resell it at a lower price to cheaper stores or outlets, and we can sell it with discounts and promotions to try and get rid of the items. Okay, so when the consumer returns or exchanges the items, okay, it is because there is obviously a defect or it is damaged, okay, and this is important for the company to have a warranty or a guarantee in place. Okay, most companies will have a 6-month to 1-year warranty purchase, where you will then be able to replace or get a refund for that product in that certain time frame. Okay, thereafter, if it's over a year or over 6 months, you will need to pay for it to be fixed or you will not be able to return it. You have to stick to the warranty period, and it is stated in the Consumer Protection Act. Okay. All right, so suppliers are obliged to refund customers within 20 days of receiving notice of the customer's intention to return the goods. Okay, so if you want to go as the customer and return your broken tackies within 20 days after purchasing it, you have to then be refunded within those 20 days. Okay. However, it is returned at the expense of the consumer. All right. I actually used Take-A-Lot as I purchased something on Take-A-Lot, and it wasn't what I want, like the right size for what I needed. So I returned it, and they had the best exchange policy ever. I just took the product. I had to take a photo of it, upload it onto Take-A-Lot, and then I dropped it off at the Take-A-Lot pickup point, and then they sent me the correct size. So Take-A-Lot has a very good returns and exchange policy. Obviously, it was within the specified warranty period. Okay, I think it was, I did that within 7 days after purchasing. Okay. So what happens if there are damaged goods? Okay. So here the consumer, should the customer agree to have the product repaired that is damaged, they will then need to wait a specific time frame and the company can then fix the product if it is fixable. If it cannot be fixed, the company needs to replace the product at their own cost, okay, with no cost to the consumer, but it obviously needs to be within the specified warranty period. Okay. Now, if there is a continuous damaged goods of the same item being that's recurring, the customer may return the product and request to be refunded. Okay, because then clearly there is something wrong with the manufacturing of the item if there is a continuous damage within the specified warranty period. Always important to read the T's and C's and the warranties of the items you are purchasing, especially if they are high-end products such as phones, watches, sunglasses, even if you're going to be buying expensive sunglasses and handbags and so forth. Okay, and houses and cars. Okay, so product recalls. Now this is different to damaged goods. Okay, so when we have a product recall, it actually means that there was a problem with the parts that has been manufactured by the company and has been sent out to the retailers to sell. So for example, it was Ford. Was it the Ford Kuga car? I can't actually remember. One of the Ford models a few years ago were recalled because they kept on catching a light and burning. Okay, so they had to recall a specific batch of cars they had manufactured. Now remember, when we speak about batches, we spoke about that a few units ago. Each manufacturing batch that you create, if you create 100 cars on one day, they will all have a specific batch number for that specific day. Okay, the cars you make tomorrow will have a different batch number. So that means if you need to recall all those products as the company, you will know which products need to be recalled from which day. Okay, so the product recall, the customer will have no financial impact. The company will then have to pay all those financial expenses, and they will actually make a loss if they do have a major product recall. Okay. All right. Also, with regards to baby products, there was earlier this year, it was baby powder from Purity, which is also known as Elizabeth Ann's. Yeah, Elizabeth Ann's. they had a product recall because one of their batches actually tested positive for asbestos in baby powder. Okay, so they had to recall all of those products from the retail outlets, and obviously the retail outlets had to recall those from their customers that had purchased it. Now, trying to get every single product back via a product recall can be very difficult, especially if it's an item such as baby powder, okay, because that is sold by the millions. However, if you had the product recall from Ford, for example, that would be an easier product recall, obviously at a higher cost, because millions of people aren't purchasing that exact batch of cars in whichever country it may be specified for. Okay. So now we've got all these products returned to us. Now we need to decide how are we going to categorize them, and how are we going to reuse them? Can we recycle them? How can we save the company money and be cost effective, okay, and still give our customers a good experience, okay? So then it comes to waste management, okay? Does it need to be disposed of? How are we going to manage that? Okay, so waste management in reverse logistics, all right, it also describes the collection, transportation, disposal, or recycling of the product waste, okay? So this will be the materials, okay? So waste materials must be managed, okay, to alleviate and minimize the impact on the environment. Okay, we don't want to be have cell phones returned or old cell phones that are sitting in inventory for years. Now, we don't want to just go and throw them into the bush and let them rot away, okay? You will lose all your customers because that is not environmentally friendly, okay? So you need to ensure that you have a correct system in place to dispose, even if you have to take each item apart and separate to say this item from this phone can be reused, this item from this phone can be recycled, this item from this phone can be resold, even if you take them apart, to categorize each component or material from a specific item returned, okay? So we always want to try and aim for recycling and reusing. Okay, so here's just an example of types of waste. Municipal solid waste, such as household and kitchen waste, demolition or construction waste. We all know medical waste, okay, biodegradable waste, such as plant and animal waste. All right, there are different types of waste. And we need to ensure as the company we have a correct waste management, okay? So the aim will be to try and avoid having waste altogether and have it as minimal as possible, okay? Which follows this hierarchy. Okay, so obviously waste avoidance is at the top of the hierarchy. We want to try and be at that level. If not, we must try and aim to reuse or recycle. Obviously, if our first call is disposing it immediately, that is obviously at the lowest point of our hierarchy. If we can try and recover instead of dispose, that would be better financially for the company. Okay. And that's the end. That is reverse logistics. So it is the opposite to logistics. Instead of you as the logistical team getting the product out to the consumer, we are now trying to get the product back from the consumer if it is damaged or at the end of their product life cycle. Okay. That brings us to the end, short and sweet. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes for some questions. on this Friday evening. Anybody have a question about anything? Everyone happy? I see that I get lots of questions from Arcan. You must message me on Arcan or email me. My email address is on Arcan, and I will get back to you. Okay, maybe not immediately, but I do try and give a 2-day turnaround. Okay, I will be uploading this video onto the YouTube channel and onto Arcan tomorrow. All right. Thanks, guys. Do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, I do have it.
How can I help you?
So, ma'am, the question that I'm going to ask, maybe I'm not asking for on behalf of myself. Maybe I'm asking for others. Ne?
Yes.
I'm going to ask about the assignment. Ne?
Yes.
I've already done all of my assignment. Ne? Then I did some units. I think unit 6. But units 8 to 9, I think it doesn't allow me to enter there because there's nothing we already done for unit 8 and 9, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet, but if you have, that's fine. You're allowed to obviously go ahead of the schedule. You can finish all your assessments in your own time.
Yes, ma'am, I did all of my assignment. Then I did submit all of it. Then I think I can use to say I'm done of my assignment, all of us. Only problem that I think it's a challenge. I did go through my textbook and other things and other resources there. Then what I'm asking, when do I going to get the other assignments to finish?
There's no more. So you actually finished the course. If you've done 2 formative assessments and 1 summative assessment, you're done. If you've received your badges, you obviously received your badges after completing their assessments online, then you finished the course.
No, I didn't receive anything, ma'am, there, no.
I'm going to share my screen quickly so I can just show you where am I? Okay, I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Yeah, you should have received badges online, like an online thing to say that you've obviously completed your formative, okay, I'm presenting, your formative and summative assessments. Let me just log back in here. Because remember, this is a short course. So we only have a schedule to ensure that if you are busy, the schedule allows you to obviously just keep up in the 12 weeks. But if you have time, you're more than welcome to complete all of your assessments and complete the course sooner than the 12-week stipulated time frame. So if you can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, so you did assignment number 1.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And number 2 and the summative.
Yes, ma'am, I did. All of them.
Yes, so then you should be done.
For no, ne?
Yeah, let me yeah, you should be done then. Oops. Using my screen here. Oh, there. Next question.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. Thanks, and you?
Good, thanks, Smatumia. Please tell me, I haven't submitted any of my assessment for the previous term, which is 1 up to 5. Do I still have a chance to do that?
Yes, it is still open. So you need to complete it before you do your assignment number 2.
Okay, because I think the only thing that I was struggling with, you've answered me with, I was struggling with the textbooks.
The textbook, okay.
Yeah, I think I've got an idea of where to get them. That's where I was struggling, but then now I think I'm okay with that. I might do them very, very soon.
Yes,
Yes.
that's done. Okay, there's a question in the chat. Can I ask, when you say are done with the course, doesn't mean we'll never have assignments again? Yes, so this is only a 12-week course, okay? So you only have 2 assignments and 1 final assignment, which are known as your 2 formative and your 1 summative. And it is stipulated in your course guide on what this course entails. So if you've done those 3 items, then you are finished. You finish the course. You won't get anything again. It's only for 12 weeks. If you finish the course in 2 weeks, then that's for your own benefit and time. Okay. Everyone happy?
Yeah, I think so, ma'am, because I think you have already covered all my answers that I was already needed.
Great. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining on this Friday night. Hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, team. Thank you very much. Heel of it. Wasn't it?